The vanishing signal. The Galactic Council had gathered again, as they always did, in their grand silver-lined chamber. The meeting room, located on the floating capital ship, was a marvel of design, a place where the galaxy's most powerful and influential species met to discuss matters of universal importance. Hundreds of delegates from across the stars sat in their high-backed chairs, their faces lit by the glow of holographic displays. Everything seemed normal, as it always did, but one thing was different. The seat of Earth remained empty. For centuries, Earth had been a mystery. Though humanity had advanced, surviving wars and harsh environments, Earth had never fully joined the Galactic Council. Their seat had always remained vacant, their representatives absent. No one knew why. It was simply the way things were. No one dared to question it. But today, that silence was about to be broken. The quiet murmur of discussions came to a sudden halt as the chamber's main screen flickered and went dark. The usual serenity of the room shifted into unease. A tense silence followed, and the delegates exchanged nervous glances. Such things never happened. The Galactic Council's technology was flawless. Then, without warning, a strange signal began to appear on the main screen. A strange static, followed by a low, distorted voice that echoed throughout the chamber. To the Galactic Council, I come with urgent news. Earth is awakening. The voice was rough, heavy, and yet urgent. The delegates leaned in, confused by the words. Who could be sending this message? Earth's absence from the Council had always been treated as a non-issue, a quiet fact no one questioned. But this was something else entirely. We were wrong. The voice continued, its tone now frantic. The truth about Earth has been hidden from you all. For too long, the galaxy has been blind. And now you will learn what you should have known. The screen blinked again, and the image of a man appeared. His face was masked in shadows, but his eyes, dark and intense, glowed with something far more terrifying than anyone could imagine. Do not ignore this warning. Earth's seat was never empty by accident. It was kept vacant for a reason you cannot comprehend. A ripple of murmurs spread throughout the council chamber. What was this person talking about? Earth had been isolated for millennia, but no one ever dared to question it. They had always assumed Earth was simply too insignificant, too primitive, to join the greater galactic community. Before anyone could react, the transmission cut off, and the screen flickered back to its usual state of calm. Still, too calm. Silence fell once again, but now it was a different kind of silence. The kind that comes with dread. What had just happened? Who was that voice? And why now? The council's leader, a tall, blue-skinned alien with silver markings across his face, stood from his chair, his eyes narrowed in thought. His voice echoed in the room, sharp and commanding. Do we have any idea where this message originated? The room remained still, no one daring to speak. The voice had come from deep within space, far beyond the known territories of the Council, but the transmission was too clean, too perfect, to have been a random event. I will get to the bottom of this, the leader continued. We cannot ignore this warning. Earth is not as forgotten as we thought. His words lingered in the air, leaving an uneasy tension among the delegates. Some shifted in their seats, their faces filled with confusion and worry. Earth had always been absent, and the Council had long assumed it was irrelevant. But now, it seemed that Earth might be far more important than anyone could have imagined. As the Council leader spoke with his advisors, one particular delegate, a human named Jack Sullivan, watched from the far end of the room. His eyes were wide, his heart pounding in his chest. He had always wondered about Earth's absence, but he never dared to speak of it. He wasn't sure anyone knew why Earth had been kept out of the galactic fold, but deep down, he felt there was a secret, a truth that no one was meant to uncover. And now someone had uncovered it. Someone new. Jack's mind raced as the implications of the message began to sink in. What if the reason Earth was never allowed a seat in the Council wasn't because they were too weak or too small? What if it was because Earth held some kind of power, a power that could threaten the stability of the entire galaxy? His thoughts were interrupted when the leader's voice cut through the tension once again. "We must investigate," the leader declared. "This signal may be a warning, but it is also a call to action. We will find out who sent it and why. If Earth is hiding something, we need to know." Jack stood up slowly, a sense of urgency filling him. This was his chance. This was the moment he had been waiting for. He couldn't sit back anymore. The message had been sent. The warning had been made. It was time for the council to face the truth. He glanced at the empty seat at the far end of the room, the one meant for Earth, and felt a chill run down his spine. What if Earth wasn't missing by accident? What if they had been kept out for a reason? What if, for the first time in galactic history, the council was about to face something far greater than it ever expected? The room was filled with tension, and everyone was waiting for the next move. But deep down, Jack knew that this was only the beginning. The galaxy was about to change in ways no one could predict, and the secrets of Earth were about to be uncovered. The Galactic Council chamber was a swirl of murmurs and confusion. The unsettling message had left everyone on edge. Delegates from every corner of the galaxy exchanged nervous glances, their previous confidence now replaced with uncertainty. No one knew what Earth's silence had truly meant, and now the whole room was questioning everything they thought they knew about the small planet that had once been considered insignificant. Jack Sullivan, a human representative within the council, felt the weight of the moment pressing down on him. He had never imagined he would be caught in the middle of something so monumental. His heart raced as he stood on the edge of his seat, pondering the implications of the mysterious voice from the transmission. "I told you," Jack whispered to himself. "I always knew Earth was more than it seemed." Despite being part of the council, Jack had always felt a strange disconnection. Earth had been left out of the important matters of the galaxy, its voice silent, its seat vacant. Jack's curiosity had always burned, a quiet suspicion gnawing at him. But even he had never expected to hear a warning like that. He was about to uncover something the entire galaxy had overlooked. The council leader, an alien whose dark scales shimmered under the chamber's light, cleared his throat loudly. The room grew silent again. "I understand your concerns," he said with authority, "but we need to act quickly. Earth's absence has gone unnoticed for too long, and now it's clear there's more to this than we thought." His words cut through the tension. No one had dared to challenge the status quo of Earth's absence until now. The Council had always viewed Earth as a primitive world, its people too young in their evolution to participate in galactic affairs. But this new message had changed everything. A council member, a sleek, silver-skinned species from the nearby Nuveth system, spoke up. "We need to understand who sent that signal, and why now." Another delegate, a tall and thin being from the far reaches of the galaxy, nodded. The message was clear. Earth's absence was deliberate. But why? What secret has been hidden from us all this time? The council leader raised a hand, silencing the room. "I will form a team to investigate immediately. We will trace the origin of that transmission and dig deeper into Earth's history," he said. "But I want to remind everyone, we must proceed carefully. The stakes are higher than we think." Jack's thoughts were a whirlwind. What had Earth been hiding? For centuries, no one had bothered to ask the question, and now it was too late to ignore it. The message had come through, and the galaxy was on the brink of a revelation that would change everything. As the council debated, Jack's mind kept returning to the voice from the transmission. He could still hear it in his head. The urgency, the fear. It had been a warning about Earth. But what was so dangerous about Earth? Why have the galaxy's most powerful species been so eager to keep the planet at arm's length? A familiar face beside Jack broke his thoughts. It was Kayla, a representative from the Virex system, known for her wisdom and diplomacy. She leaned toward him, her green eyes narrowed in thought. "Jack," she whispered, I've been hearing rumors about Earth. Strange things. Things we've all been too afraid to talk about. Jack turned to her, raising an eyebrow. What kind of rumors? Kayla hesitated, glancing around to make sure no one was listening. There's been talk of an ancient power on Earth, something so old and powerful that it could shake the very foundation of the galaxy. Some say the planet itself holds secrets that no one dares to uncover. Jack's pulse quickened. He had always suspected there was more to Earth than anyone realized. But this was different. He could feel a chill run down his spine as the implications began to sink in. "What do you mean?" he asked quietly, barely above a whisper. Kayla leaned even closer, her voice barely audible. "I've heard rumors that Earth was once part of an ancient alliance, an alliance that was wiped out long ago. But what if the truth is, Earth was the core of that alliance? What if it wasn't just a forgotten world, but the very heart of something more powerful?" Jack's mind raced. Earth, the core of an ancient alliance. The idea seemed impossible, yet something in Kayla's words felt true. The Council had always treated Earth as insignificant, but what if that was the lie? What if Earth had always been far more important than anyone realized? As the Council session continued, Jack's thoughts were a jumble of questions and possibilities. The mystery was growing deeper, and with it, a sense of dread. Could Earth's absence from the Galactic Council have been part of a larger, darker plan? Could the planet's silence have been a strategic move to protect it from the very powers that now sought to control it? The transmission had only been the beginning, but Jack knew one thing for certain. The secrets of Earth were about to unravel. And the truth, whatever it was, would shake the galaxy to its core. The council leader stood again, bringing the room to order. "I've decided," he said firmly. "We will not wait. We will dispatch a team immediately to Earth. We'll uncover the truth, no matter how dangerous it may be." As the room erupted in debate, Jack couldn't help but feel a strange sense of dread mixed with excitement. This was it, the moment the galaxy would begin to realize just how powerful Earth truly was. And the truth, it was more terrifying than anyone could have imagined. The pieces were in motion, and the mysteries of Earth were about to be revealed. But what would that truth cost? And what would it mean for the future of the galaxy? Only time would tell. The Galactic Council's decision was made, and the air was thick with tension. Delegates had left the chamber, each member digesting the same haunting question. What secrets had Earth been hiding for so long? Jack Sullivan had never felt more unsettled. His life as a representative of Earth had always been an odd mix of pride and skepticism. Earth had been treated like a forgotten corner of the galaxy, its seat at the council always empty, its voice never heard. But now, with the mysterious transmission and the whisperings of an ancient power, he realized Earth had been more important than anyone had imagined. He was about to be part of something that could either lift Earth to unimaginable heights or pull it into the darkness of the unknown. Jack and Kayla had been chosen to accompany the investigation team to Earth. Their mission was clear: uncover the truth behind Earth's absence from the Galactic Council, trace the origins of the message, and learn exactly what the ancient power might be. The stakes couldn't be higher. If they failed, Earth could be exposed to the very forces it had been hiding from for centuries. As they traveled toward Earth, Jack couldn't shake the feeling that they were diving headfirst into something they didn't fully understand. The silence from Earth's leaders was deafening. No one from Earth had contacted the Galactic Council to explain the sudden disappearance, and no one had dared to ask for an explanation until now. "You're quiet, Jack," Kayla said, her voice laced with concern. "Are you sure you're ready for this?" He turned to her, meeting her steady gaze. "I don't know if I'm ready, but I don't think we have a choice. This is bigger than us. This is bigger than Earth." Kayla nodded, her brow furrowed in thought. "You're right. We can't afford to fail." The ship approached Earth's orbit, and Jack's heart rate quickened. The blue planet came into view, its beauty overwhelming. He'd always thought of Earth as a humble world, lost in the vastness of space. But now, with all that was at stake, it seemed like the most important place in the universe. The team landed on Earth's surface, where they were met by an eerie silence. The streets were deserted, the cities eerily empty. It was as if the planet itself had been holding its breath for centuries, waiting for the right moment to reveal its secrets. "Where is everyone?" Kayla asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Jack's gaze swept across the barren landscape. "I don't know, but this isn't normal. Earth used to be teeming with life. Something's happened here, something we're not being told." The investigation team began its work. They scoured the planet's surface, looking for any clue that could explain Earth's strange absence from the galactic stage. They found old archives, hidden deep underground, that revealed Earth's involvement in an ancient galactic alliance. But as they dug deeper, they discovered that the records had been deliberately erased. It was as if someone, or something, didn't want Earth's history to be known. As they worked through the night, Jack's thoughts raced. The more they uncovered, the more the mystery deepened. Why had Earth been erased from history? Why had it been kept out of the Galactic Council? And what was the ancient power that everyone seemed so afraid of? The answers seemed just out of reach. A breakthrough came when they discovered a series of encrypted messages hidden within Earth's oldest databases. The messages were encoded, their meaning unclear. But one thing was certain: the messages had been sent to Earth's leaders from an unknown source, warning them of a danger unlike any the galaxy had seen before. The team worked tirelessly to decrypt the messages. As the final code was cracked, the screen flickered to life, revealing a chilling warning. The old alliance must never rise again. Protect the Earth at all costs. Jack's heart stopped. The implication was clear. Earth had been part of something much larger, an ancient power that had been suppressed for centuries. The galaxy had been living in fear of something far greater than any species could comprehend. "What does this mean?" Kayla asked, her voice trembling. "What is this ancient power?" Jack didn't have an answer. All he knew was that Earth had been hiding something dangerous, something that could change the fate of the galaxy. The truth was far darker than they had ever imagined. Suddenly, a loud crash echoed through the building. The team turned to see a dark figure standing in the doorway, a silhouette shrouded in mystery. It was clear that they weren't alone on Earth. Someone, or something, had been watching them. The figure stepped forward, revealing a face Jack knew all too well. It was a human, but not like any human he had ever met. His eyes glowed with an unnatural light, and his movements were fluid, almost predatory. "I've been waiting for you," the man said, his voice cold and calculating. Jack's breath caught in his throat. This man wasn't just a regular human. He was something far more. The message had been clear. Someone on Earth had known about the dangers all along. As the man spoke, he revealed the truth. Earth's silence had been a protective measure, not just to hide its power, but to shield the galaxy from the threat that lay within it. Earth had been the last bastion against an ancient evil that had once controlled the galaxy. The message was clear. Earth had been hiding not only from the galaxy, but from itself. Jack looked around at the team, each of them stunned and speechless. This was no longer just about uncovering the truth. This was about survival. "Everything you've been told about Earth is a lie," the man said. "The galaxy has no idea what they're dealing with." And with that, the true purpose of Earth's silence began to unfold before their eyes. The galaxy had been kept in the dark, and now the truth was about to be revealed. But would the galaxy be ready for it? Only time would tell. The truth was far darker than anything Jack Sullivan had expected. The figure before them wasn't just a messenger. He was a sentinel, one of the last surviving protectors of Earth's ancient power. As the man spoke, his words seemed to echo across the empty halls of the abandoned city. Jack's heart raced as he absorbed the gravity of the situation. "Who are you?" Jack finally asked, his voice steady despite the storm of thoughts racing through his mind. "What do you mean by the ancient evil?" The man's eyes glowed brighter, casting an eerie light across the room. "I am called Corin, and I am one of the few who remember the truth. Earth was once part of a vast and powerful alliance, one that united entire galaxies, but something went terribly wrong. A force of unimaginable power, older than the galaxies themselves, began to rise. The Alliance feared it, and so Earth sealed itself off to protect the rest of the galaxy. Jack's mind spun. The Alliance, the ancient power, everything they thought they knew about Earth was unraveling before their eyes. Kayla stepped forward, her expression a mix of disbelief and curiosity. Why did Earth not warn anyone? Why not send a message to the Galactic Council? Corin's expression hardened. Because the force that threatened the galaxy is still here. It lies dormant, but it can awaken at any moment. Earth's silence was its protection, not just for itself, but for all of you. The galaxy is not ready for what we are keeping hidden. The weight of Corin's words sank in. The entire galaxy had been unknowingly living in the shadow of something that could bring about its end. Earth's absence from the Galactic Council had been more than a political move. It was a desperate measure to keep the ancient power locked away. We need to understand more, Jack said, his voice a little firmer. How do we stop it from awakening? Corin turned and motioned for them to follow. There is an old vault deep underground. It holds the secrets to the power you fear. You must go there, and you must understand what has been hidden. The team followed Corin as he led them through the desolate city. The streets were eerily quiet, as though the earth itself had become a tomb. Jack's mind raced as he tried to make sense of everything. Why hadn't anyone told them the truth? Why hadn't Earth's leaders communicated with the rest of the galaxy? They arrived at a large building, its structure ancient and worn. Corin led them inside, where a set of enormous doors awaited them. He turned to face Jack and Kayla, his expression grim. "This is the vault," he said, his voice reverberating in the silent room. "Here lies the truth about the ancient power and why Earth must remain hidden. What you find inside will change everything." The doors creaked open slowly, revealing a dark chamber. Jack's heart skipped a beat as they stepped inside. The air was thick with dust and ancient energy. As they ventured deeper into the vault, they found walls covered in strange symbols and markings. The markings pulsed with a faint, ominous glow, as if they were alive. At the center of the room stood a massive stone pedestal, upon which rested a glowing crystal. The light from the crystal bathed the room in an eerie blue glow. Jack approached it cautiously, his eyes scanning the walls for any clues. "This is what we've been protecting," Corin said quietly. "The crystal is the key to the ancient power. It holds the knowledge and energy of an entire civilization. If it falls into the wrong hands, the galaxy will be consumed by darkness." Jack's mind raced. How do we stop it? How do we ensure this power doesn't destroy everything? Corin's eyes were somber as he glanced at the crystal. The power cannot be destroyed. It can only be sealed away. The key to sealing it is the one who understands its true nature. Earth has always kept that knowledge within its people, but it was forgotten over time. Jack frowned, trying to piece everything together. "Are you saying we need someone from Earth to control it? To stop it from awakening?" Corin nodded. "Yes. Only someone with the bloodline of the old protectors can wield the power of the crystal and keep it sealed. Without that, the force will awaken and the galaxy will fall." Jack felt a chill run down his spine. He turned to Kayla, who was looking at the crystal with a mixture of awe and fear. The weight of their mission had never felt heavier. "We have to find that person," Jack said, his voice resolute. "We can't let this power fall into the wrong hands." Kayla nodded, determination in her eyes. "But how do we find them? How do we find someone with the bloodline of the protectors?" Corin stepped closer, his face shadowed by the glowing crystal. "That's the next part of the journey. You'll have to search the ancient records, and you'll have to look beyond the galaxy you know. The protector is out there, hidden in plain sight. And once you find them, you'll have to convince them to face the power within them." The team stood in silence, the weight of the task ahead of them pressing down on their shoulders. Jack knew that their next steps would be perilous. The galaxy had no idea what was coming, and the time was running out to stop it. The ancient power was awakening. And soon, the galaxy would know the truth. "We're ready," Jack said, his voice unwavering. "We'll do whatever it takes to stop this." With that, the team turned and left the vault, knowing that their journey was only just beginning. The stakes had never been higher, and the universe's fate now rested on their shoulders. The air was thick with tension as Jack and his team left the vault. The crystal's ominous glow still lingered in their minds, its power so vast that it seemed to hum with a life of its own. They had learned a great deal, but the road ahead was even more uncertain. Now they had to find the one person who could control the ancient power, the Protector. "We can't waste any time," Jack said, turning to his team. "The longer we wait, the stronger the ancient force becomes. We need to track down this Protector, no matter where they are." Kayla nodded. "But how do we even begin to search?" "Corin said the Protector is hidden in plain sight. Where do we start?" "We start with Earth," Jack replied. "If anyone has the knowledge or the connection to the ancient power, it's someone from Earth. We need to find out everything we can about the old Protectors. There must be something, some clue, that can lead us to the person we're looking for." The team headed back to the Earth archives, hoping that the ancient records could provide more answers. The archives were vast, stretching deep beneath the surface of the ruined city. They had barely scratched the surface in their previous search, but now they had a clearer focus. They spent hours combing through the old records, looking for anything that might hint at the Protector's identity. There were countless stories and legends about Earth's past, tales of great warriors and leaders who had once fought to defend the galaxy. But none of them seemed to be the key. As time passed, frustration began to mount. "I'm not seeing anything," Kayla said, her voice tinged with exhaustion. "We're going in circles." Jack was about to reply when a soft beep echoed from the terminal in front of him. He leaned forward, his eyes scanning the screen. It was an ancient document, one that hadn't appeared in their previous searches. The title read, "The Last of the Guardians, the Bloodline of Earth's Protectors." "Wait, this is it," Jack said, his voice full of excitement. "This is what we've been looking for." Kayla and the rest of the team crowded around him as he pulled up the document. The words were faded, but the meaning was clear. The document detailed the history of Earth's guardians, protectors who had once guarded the galaxy's most powerful secrets. According to the document, the Guardians' bloodline had been passed down through generations, and the last of them was said to be hidden somewhere on Earth. "There's a name," Jack muttered, his finger tracing the ancient text. "Riley Ashford. That's the name of the last Guardian." Kayla raised an eyebrow. "Riley Ashford. I've never heard of them." "Neither have I," Jack replied. "But this is the clue we need. We need to find Riley Ashford." The team quickly gathered their gear, preparing to leave the archives and search for any trace of this mysterious individual. Jack's heart pounded in his chest. They had finally found a lead, but they had no idea where Riley Ashford might be, or even if they were still alive. As they made their way back to their ship, Jack couldn't shake the feeling that time was running out. The galaxy was on the brink of disaster, and it all hinged on finding one person. If they didn't succeed, the ancient power would awaken, and nothing could stop it. The journey to find Riley Ashford took them to Earth's hidden corners, places that had long been abandoned and forgotten. They traveled to remote cities, lost towns, and underground facilities that had once been bustling with life. Everywhere they went, they found no sign of Ashford. Days turned into weeks, and the weight of their search began to take its toll. Jack's optimism started to fade, and he could see it in the eyes of his team. They were starting to lose hope. "Maybe it's a dead end," Kayla said one evening, as they sat around a campfire on a desolate stretch of Earth's surface. "Maybe the Protector is just a myth. Maybe we were wrong." Jack shook his head, his jaw set with determination. "We can't give up now. We've come too far." Just then, A soft beep echoed from the communication device in Jack's pocket. He quickly pulled it out, his heart skipping a beat when he saw the name on the screen. Riley Ashford. "This is it," Jack whispered, his voice filled with awe. He tapped the screen, and a grainy image of a woman appeared. Her face was weathered, but her eyes were sharp, filled with a quiet strength. "Riley Ashford?" Jack asked, his voice betraying his excitement. The woman on the screen nodded slowly. "You found me," she said, her voice steady, but tinged with sadness. "I didn't want to be found." "Why not?" Kayla asked, her voice urgent. "We need your help. The galaxy is in danger." Riley's expression darkened. "I know. That's why I've been hiding. The power I carry is dangerous, and I swore I would never use it again. But it seems the time has come." Jack and Kayla exchanged a glance. They had found her. They had found the protector. "Will you help us?" Jack asked, his voice filled with hope. Riley looked away for a moment, as though weighing the consequences. Finally, she met Jack's gaze. "I will help, but you must understand that what lies ahead will not be easy. The power I wield is ancient and dangerous. It will take all of us to stop it from destroying everything." Jack nodded. "We're ready." As the screen flickered out, Jack felt a surge of hope. They had found the protector. Now they just had to figure out how to stop the ancient power before it consumed everything they knew. The journey was far from over, but Jack knew one thing for certain. Earth's fate, and the fate of the galaxy, now rested in the hands of Riley Ashford, and they would stop at nothing to ensure the ancient power remained sealed. The cold, dark void of space stretched endlessly before them, a chilling reminder of the vastness of the universe. Jack's mind raced as the ship's engines hummed steadily beneath his feet. Their mission had shifted, but the stakes were higher than ever. Riley Ashford had agreed to help them, but her presence was only the beginning. The galaxy was teetering on the edge of an unimaginable power, and only the last guardian had the knowledge to seal it away forever. Their destination was a hidden facility on Earth, deep underground, where the ancient power had been kept dormant for millennia. Riley had led them here, and now it was time to confront the danger that had been lying in wait for so long. The closer they got to the facility, the heavier the air seemed to grow. Each passing moment felt like an eternity, the weight of the impending conflict pressing down on them all. "We're almost there," Riley said, her voice calm yet tinged with an underlying tension. She stood at the control panel, her fingers dancing over the holographic display, her focus unyielding. "When we land, stay close. The facility is secure, but the power inside is unlike anything you've encountered before." Jack's pulse quickened. He had no idea what to expect. They had faced countless threats before, but this was different. This was the culmination of everything they had been searching for, the key to stopping the catastrophic force that was threatening the galaxy. The ship touched down gently on the dusty surface, and the team quickly gathered their gear. Riley led them to a nearby entrance, hidden beneath layers of rock and debris. As they descended deeper into the earth, the air grew colder, and the faint hum of the ancient facility grew louder. The walls seemed to pulse with energy, as if the very structure was alive, waiting to awaken. "Are you sure you're ready for this?" Kayla asked, her voice barely above a whisper as they walked down the dark corridors. The flickering lights cast long shadows, and the silence was suffocating. Jack nodded, his eyes focused on the path ahead. "We don't have a choice. We have to stop this." Riley led them into a vast chamber, its walls lined with ancient symbols and intricate designs. In the center of the room stood a massive stone pedestal, glowing with a faint, eerie light. It was the source of the power they had been seeking, an artifact that had been buried for centuries, its true nature hidden from the galaxy. "This is it," Riley said, her voice reverberating through the chamber. "The artifact that controls the power of the ancient civilization. It must remain sealed, or everything we've worked for will be lost." Jack stepped forward, his heart pounding. "What do we need to do?" Riley turned to him, her expression grave. "We need to perform the sealing ritual. It's the only way to ensure the power stays contained. But it's not simple. The artifact will resist. It won't be easy." Kayla's eyes narrowed. "What do you mean, resist?" "The artifact is alive," Riley explained. "It has a consciousness, and it doesn't want to be sealed away again. It will fight back. We must be prepared for anything." The tension in the air was palpable as the team gathered around the pedestal. Riley's hands hovered above the artifact, her eyes closed in concentration. The ancient symbols on the pedestal began to glow, and the room seemed to hum with energy. Jack could feel it. An overwhelming presence, a force that reached out to him, probing his very soul. "Stay focused," Riley said, her voice steady but strained. "We need to work together. The ritual must be performed in unison, or the power will slip through our fingers." Jack nodded, his grip tightening on his weapon. They had come this far, and they couldn't afford to fail now. The ritual began, and the room seemed to come alive with energy. The walls trembled, the symbols glowing brighter as the artifact fought against them. Jack's heart raced as the chamber seemed to close in around them, the pressure building with each passing second. Suddenly, the air around them crackled with energy. A loud, piercing sound echoed through the chamber, and the artifact surged with power, its light blinding. The walls shuddered, and Jack felt the floor beneath him tremble. It was as if the entire facility was on the verge of collapse. "This is it," Riley shouted, her voice barely audible over the roar of the energy. "We need to finish the ritual now." With all their strength, the team focused their energy on the artifact, willing the ritual to succeed. The power surged around them, an overwhelming force that threatened to consume them all. Jack's vision blurred, and he felt as though his body was being pulled apart by the sheer force of the energy. But they held on, pushing through the pain, refusing to give up. Slowly, the artifact's resistance began to fade. The light dimmed, and the pressure in the room lessened. Jack's body ached, his strength waning, but he refused to let go. The ritual was almost complete. Finally, with a final surge of energy, the artifact went silent. The light faded completely, and the room was plunged into darkness. Jack collapsed to his knees, his breath coming in ragged gasps. The silence was deafening. "We did it," Kayla said, her voice filled with awe. Riley stood over the pedestal, her eyes closed in relief. "It's done," she said softly. "The power is sealed once again." But Jack knew that their battle was far from over. The artifact was sealed, but the galaxy's future still hung in the balance. The ancient power had been contained for now, but Jack couldn't shake the feeling that they had only just begun to scratch the surface of what lay ahead. They had won this battle, but the war was far from over. The heavy silence in the chamber was almost suffocating as the team slowly recovered from the intense ritual. Jack, still on his knees, could barely catch his breath. His entire body ached from the energy that had coursed through him during the sealing. His mind was still racing, trying to process everything that had just happened. They had done it. They had sealed away the ancient artifact, and for now, the universe was safe. But something deep inside him told him that this was only the beginning. Kayla helped him to his feet, her expression weary but relieved. "We made it," she said, a faint smile crossing her face. But Jack could see the concern in her eyes. She knew, just as he did, that their mission wasn't truly over. The artifact had been sealed, but the galaxy was still on the brink of chaos. Riley, who had been standing silently by the pedestal, turned to face them. Her expression was one of quiet determination, but Jack could see the toll the ritual had taken on her. Her hands were trembling slightly, and her face was pale. She had been the one to perform the sealing, the one who had fought against the artifact's resistance, and Jack knew how much strength that must have cost her. "We've done what we came to do," Riley said, her voice steady despite the exhaustion in her tone. "But we can't stay here. We need to get back to the ship, regroup, and figure out our next move." Jack nodded. "What happens now?" What's next for us? Riley's gaze hardened, and her voice lowered as she spoke. The galaxy is still in danger. The artifact may be sealed, but its influence is far-reaching. There are those out there who would do anything to gain control of its power, and they won't stop until they have it. We fought ourselves some time, but the fight isn't over. Jack felt a chill run down his spine. He had known that their mission wouldn't be simple, but hearing Riley speak so seriously made the reality of their situation sink in deeper. The artifact was only a small part of the puzzle. There were forces out there, hidden enemies, ancient powers, and unknown threats, that would stop at nothing to tip the balance in their favor.